Testing, testing. Yes. So hello everyone. Welcome to the Scientist Reverse Grid Einstein League Race 2 on the 9th in Singapore. My apologies, I was muted for the entirety of the Hungarian Grand Prix. I've since fixed the settings and we're all good now. So many apologies. So I was basically talking to myself for the last half an hour, so there we go. What did I take from that last race? A great strong drive from Jim, Stan and Vessier. The front three were really strong. The safety car played havoc, I think, with some of the drivers, particularly Nick, who had to make his way through the field. I caught a particularly questionable overtake on Epic, which caused him to DNF, so that I reckon might be taking a look at in the incident reports later. But anyway, Jim won the race, followed by Stan and Vessier on the podium. And now we've flown halfway across the world to Singapore, and if I'm not mistaken, it looks like we've got a few spots of rain in the pit lane. So I think we're possibly in for an intermediate start. And strategy, I think, is going to go out the window here. It's all going to be about who can survive the walls of Singapore. So good to have Bizzle join us for the second race after missing the first one. You'll notice that Ray Zodin is missing tonight, so we know how quick he is, and it's an opportunity for a lot of drivers to make up big points in his absence. So again, at least you got to watch a race and not listen to my doer voice. But you have to suffer it now, I'm afraid. So yes, indeed, we start with intermediate tyres. Let's get the telemetry all sorted out. I don't like having the lap data up there. Some of you have asked for the telemetry to be displayed, so as per request, there it is. So we've got Corleone on pole position, followed by Doradin and Racing Gut. Everyone starting on the intermediate tyres. We don't know if the rain is going to persist as Doradin totally loses it on the formation lap. I'm so sorry, I couldn't help but laugh at that, because it's so unusual to see someone bin it on the formation lap, but given the weather, given the conditions, he's sliding through the corner, so this does not bode well for this race so far, as we've got a Bizzle leaving the session, so I have to do my due diligence and get our South African friend back into the lobby. He may or may not be able to retake control of his car. So as I was saying, I think I was just going for the order when Doradin totally binned it, but so don't ask me who's where in the championship right now, but after the last race we can take care of that later. So Bizzle has left the session, his car's ghosted, but we've sent him an invite, so hopefully he can rejoin, but otherwise his Alfa Romeo is going to be ghosted for the whole race. So Doradin unfortunately not having the best of times on the formation lap, so it'll be, let's say turn 1 will be interesting as the cars make their way to the grid from a very eventful formation lap. Yeah, I think I was about to say that we don't know whether or not the rain's going to carry on or if we're going to transition to dry. But the rain's quite steady at the moment, so it is going to be about who can keep it on the tarmac. So 3, 4, 5 lights, and it's not quite go yet. It's a very prolonged go. This is looking like a very exaggerated version of a Codemasters bug, as everyone's stuck on the grid for this race. It does look like there's connection issues for everybody here. Bizzle's car is doing something rather strange. I have a feeling that this race is a dead rubber at the moment. Let me just check the Discord. Oh, and now we're go. We're go in Singapore. A very prolonged start, but we're underway. Oh, and there's some contact further back in the midfield. And everyone's all bunched up and taking it very gingerly through the first couple of corners. And who has made the best start? We've got some gun falling all the way down the field. Dacunia, Fulltex, and Chappie. And a 5-second penalty for Ultimate Stand for gaining a position. And we've got round 2 of Nick versus Epic. Will he be a bit more relaxed on the brakes? Epic has made an insane start, and that's a McLaren off into the barrier, and it looks like Mosher. So within these hazardous conditions, it's very tricky to try and keep on top of everything, but Corleone has held P1. Racing Gupt in P2. Doradin has actually made a decent start in P3. Vessier in P4, who was on the podium in the last race, so he's made an excellent start, as has Little Jim, the race winner. Nick. And Doradin runs really wide and into the barrier, and he's lost all the positions, so the commentator's curse struck again. And we look back through the field, who's got damage. So Dacunia has got a damaged front wing. Bizzle has managed to rejoin, and that's Mosher into the barrier, and Dacunia joins him in sympathy into the barrier, and Dacunia is struggling to engage reverse gear, and we've got a virtual safety car. That could be the first of many. Would anyone want to take advantage of that and maybe put on full wet tyres? Epic is somebody who is going into the pits. Has he got damage? Eskimo, that pit entry is awful. It really is terrible. They should change that in real life, I believe. So Eskimo. So Epic isn't getting a wing change, he's just wanting a tyre change, he's just wanting fresh rubber. Eskimo's in the pits, Doradin's in the pits. We've got a drive-through penalty for Ultimate Stand, so he's having a nightmare race. He's picked up a 5-second penalty and a drive-through. A wing change for Doradin. Eskimo, I believe, for the wing change. We're back up to racing speed, so Corleone has made the perfect start. He's built up a massive lead on the second lap. Racing Gupt and Vessier, Little Jim, Nick, and Ultimate Stan has got a drive-through penalty and a 5-second penalty, so expect to see him fall down the order very shortly when he has to serve that penalty. Casto holding station in P7, Chappie in P9, Proliver in P9, and Waymet in P10, and that's Mosher and Dacunia only just coming out of the pits now, so they've got it all to do. They'll be hoping for a safety car. So Cunha's fortunes after winning in Monaco, mastering one street circuit, has got it all to do here in another street circuit in Singapore, but in much more treacherous conditions with the rain. So Corleone, I think, has made a mistake because his lead was 2 seconds, it's now down to 1.4. So has Corleone simply not got his wind's clean? He must have simply maybe ran wide, because Racing Gupta's eaten into his lead and Vessier is right behind him in his slipstream, and Corleone sets the fastest lap, and that goes to Vessier now. A 2-minute flat, so these guys are taking 2 minutes per lap. Unless you're Pierre Oliver, who does it in under 2 minutes, and we've got a yellow flag in which part of the track is that? Sector 3. We've got a safety car now, and I'm trying to see. So Renault going very slowly, they're all trying to match the delta. And it looks like it's Doradin who's already damaged his front wing for the second time, so we're only on the 3rd lap and 2 front wings. The Williams team have, let's hope they've stacked them up, because otherwise if Nick gets a front wing he won't be able to get a replacement, because the Williams team will be using them all for Doradin. Eskimo's also in the pits. Mosher comes through, he's okay. Takunya. Epic is also in the pits, so Epic, Doradin and Eskimo have already made 2 trips to the pits this evening. So is the track beginning to dry up a little bit? No, it's still raining fairly heavy. I don't think it's enough for full wet tyres, nor is it enough for slicks. It's still well too wet, and I think Doradin has decided that discretion is the better part of valour and retired from the race. So maybe the remaining front wings were reserved for his teammate. And Corleone is actually put in, so, and Stan picks up another penalty. He's on a mission tonight. So are these guys taking a gamble? We have no idea whether the weather's going to ease up, and no, we've got a fresh set of inters for Corleone, and he's got a penalty to serve by the look of it. Not either that or his team were very slow getting him coming out. It's a front wing change for Ultimate Stan, and he's still got a drive-through to serve. Bizzle's in the pits. A lot of guys opting to pit for front wings. And fresh set of green wall tyres. So if you're keeping tabs at home, maybe if you want to have a little game, take a shot for every front wing change you see here tonight. Maybe keep a tab of how many pit stops you see your front wing changes. So usually if you're in Canada or Mexico, you're keeping score of how many penalties are being given out. It's how many front wing changes are being given out in Singapore. So let's have a look at who's gained the most positions in the race so far, if I can figure out how to work the... So Vessier's and Little Jim have made up 9 and 10 positions respectively. 9 positions for Proliver and Wayne Bennett. Wayne, who binned it coming out of turn 4 in Hungary, which brought out a safety car in that race, and that was a real unfortunate accident for Wayne in the sole Ferrari in this race. Proliver also DNF'd in Hungary, so he's looking to redeem himself here, and is doing a good job so far. And we've got Nick and Little Jim very close together. Not sure where Ultimate Stan's going to end up in this race with that penalty. Another drive-through penalty, he'll be right at the back of the field. Stick it back onto here. Cut back to the lead. The safety car is going to stay out for another lap, I think, to recover. Possibly to recover Dorad and Stricken Williams. So this has actually worked out for Mosher and D'Acunha, who will be able to rejoin the pack after their first lap incidents. So all was not lost, and remember, of course, points are given down to P15, so even if you have a bad race you can still salvage something from it. And Epic was getting sideways there as they head into the tunnel. You don't want to make any mistakes, especially behind the safety car. And Epic, and that's D'Acunha with more front wing damage and a penalty for a collision with Epic that really wasn't his fault. And Epic is really struggling in these conditions, and he's stuck it in the wall, damaged his front wing, and that has compromised his race, and it certainly compromised D'Acunha's race, because that mistake from Epic has cost D'Acunha through no fault of his own. So another front wing change. So with Corleone having pitted earlier, Racing Gupta is now your race leader, and we're only on lap 5 now, with 10 laps to go. We've got the Darwin League race at 10 o'clock. I think I might be a little bit late for that one, given the action that's going on here. But the good news is the safety car is in this lap and we'll be back up to racing speed. That's not good news for D'Acunha, however, because he's way about 25 seconds back. In fact, more than that, more like 40 seconds back. So he's in a race of his own. But you never know, we have more safety cars, so Racing Gupta is letting the safety car get away. Onto the tunnel they go. And let's see, the track is still wet, no sign of dry conditions yet. And Racing Gupta decides to floor it now. Now be careful coming for these final two corners. Gupta almost loses it. And will Vessier take advantage of that slight mistake from Gupta as they head into turn 1. Everyone, the top 5 are through safely, the top 6 are through safely, and Wayne wide in the Ferrari. Was that a bit of wheel bang in there with Ultimate Stan and Corleone? Wayne has lost some positions. Ultimate Stan has a drive-through penalty still to serve, so he'll be taken out of this equation within the next few laps. Let's cut back to Jim and Vessier. This was a battle from earlier on in Hungary. It's renewed here, and Epic is now out of the race, so that's another retirement for the Racing Point. Let's see, it's on the start-finish straight, or has he retired in the pits? And yeah, he's binned it on the start-finish straight, so let's cut back to the main battle here at the front. Jim, Nick and Casto and Vessier. Oh, and look at them go across the Anderson Bridge onto the DRS straight. Of course, DRS is not activated in the right conditions, so it's all about the ERS here as they head down into the final part of the lap. Singapore, it's a long slog, requires ultimate concentration, and we've got a collision at the back between Mosher, whose front wing has completely fallen off the McLaren. That looked like an incident with a Renault, and Bultex is the Renault. He's lost his front wing now. He's got a 5-second penalty to boot for corner cut in. So We are down to 15 runners, and there comes Stan in to serve his penalty. So Stan will fall right down the order. So we have 15 runners, so everyone will score points if they keep it away from the walls, as we said. So Racing Group now setting the pace, followed by Vessier and Jim and Nick. So Stan, where does Stan come out? Stan comes out in P11, Mosh is in the pits, Bulltex is in the pits for their front wing changes, so Stan comes out in P11, so he's kind of all on his own now. Will still score some points, but obviously wants to be up near the top positions. Now Dacuna, you'll get past Bulltex and possibly Mosher here, so Dacuna, who was way back after the safety car collision, is now picked up a couple of places. So this is a lesson for everyone, do not give up. So 8 laps to go. We're at, as Murray Walker might say, with half the race gone, there is half still to go. As Vessier putting pressure on Gupta as they head into the tunnel. Very easy to outbrake yourself and head into the barrier there, and with wet conditions that is exacerbated even further. So single file coming through sector 3 towards the end of the lap. Little Jim, so 3 consecutive fastest laps. First it was Gupta, then it was Jim, and now Little Jim with I think a 156, I think that was, and we've got a yellow flag at the back, and I think Chappie's had a collision towards the back. We've got Wayne entering the pit lane, and Chappie has kept his front wing clean, but he's spinning as they go around turn 1 and his front wing isn't clean anymore. Chappie has spun, that's unfortunate. Obviously maybe put the power down a little bit too early there and has now lost a position to ultimate stand. So Chappie will, I think, will be making a trip to the pits later as Wayne comes out for, I think, a new front wing as well. Let's cut back to the top 3-4 positions. Racing Gift putting in a very measured drive here. He's just making sure he keeps that car on the tarmac out of the walls, and it's beginning to pull away a little bit from Vessier over about a second gap as we've got Jim and Nick side by side going down the straight. Has Nick got more ERS? He's using a lot of it. He's going to make the move. He's forcing Jim into the wall almost, and that was I think that was a clean move in the end. Almost forced him into the wall, but gets the move done. And Nick is now up into P3. Very close, hard battle between these two. Casto in the background waiting to pick up the pieces. Very consistent performer as Casto France. Proliver is also having a very strong race after a DNF in Hungary. And then a little bit further back we've got Corleone and Bizzle. So let's come back to here because I did say Gup pulled out a bit of a gap to Vessier, but Vessier in that last sector has cut that down by half a second more or less. So Gupta's got around about 70% ERS, a little bit more than Vessier has, and Racing Gup seems to get better traction on exit compared to Vessier. Pulled out a tenth of a second there. And wouldn't it be wonderful for 2 of our newest drivers in the league to be fighting for the race lead here in Singapore? It's fantastic to watch. But we've still got a few laps left. Chappie in for his new front wing, and that promotes Eskimo and Dacuna. So Dacuna is picking up more places, and Mosher unfortunately is having a bit of a stinker this evening. and that could be another trip to the pits for the pride of Ayrshire. Ooh, we have a swapper run coming into the final corner. So things have settled down a little bit. We'll have to stay with this top three battle though, and Vessier is slightly into the wall, but not enough to merit end plate damage. So 6 laps to go. You have to say the top 6 are looking pretty settled at the moment. It's maybe a question mark over the top 3 if they change positions. And Vessier is now closer than he's ever been, I think, to racing Goop. But again, Goop gets a good exit there and manages to stretch out the lead by a couple of tenths of a second. And Vessier has to keep an eye on Nick in his mirrors as well. I think with DRS assistance, Goop would have been disposed of a lap or so ago, but he's really driving the wheels off that Alfa Romeo. It's a fantastic drive from him. And we've got another yellow flag, and Mosher is out of the race. Run too many collisions with the barrier, and it looks like he's crashed in the tunnel section, so he must have outbraked himself. And we've got not a yellow flag. Bultex is in the pits, so another front wing change for him. And in fact, Bultex is retired from the race, so I think he's had enough, or maybe the Renault team ran out of front wings for him. So as it was in Hungary, we're now down to 13 runners and riders. So Chappie, the last of those classified at the moment. The closest battle on track is actually for P1, 2 and 3. And 4 and 5 probably. Don't rule out Casto, he's just lurking in the background there. And little Jim's pitting. Now what's happened to Jim? Has he had a call to say that the rain's getting heavier? It looks like, nope, he's getting a fresh batch of inters. I wonder why he's pitted for fresh intermediate tyres. Have his tyres decided to give up on him? I wonder why he's pitting at such a late stage in the race and is falling right down the order. And he's effectively giving up track position. He was in P4, and to pit, not to repair front wing, but just to simply put fresh tyres on, is an interesting call. So Vessier now fallen 1.5 seconds behind him, Gooped. So fantastic driving from the Alpha. And we got another yellow flag. It's a Mercedes, it's Chappie again, spinning about. And where's Chappie? Yep, it's just before the tunnel. He's spun it again. Careful, chaps. Did well to avoid going into the wall there, so obviously maybe lost a little bit on exit. And Chappie is coming into the pits as well. Is he coming in to retire from the race? If he is, he's effectively given up points. And indeed he is, he's given up points. So some of these guys, I think, maybe still unaware that we're giving points down to P15, but it's up to them. Maybe they've just had enough of driving in these treacherous conditions. So we've got a yellow flag in sector 1 as well. As we head back. And what's happened here? There's been an incident in the pit lane. What's happened to Vessier? Vessier's had an incident somewhere. Oh, we've missed something off on while we were watching Chappie. We missed something with Nick Vessier. I have no idea what's happened here. Oh, and we've got a spinning Alpha Bizzle. What on earth is going on in this race? The little Jim now is taking advantage of that and going up to P5 after re-questioning his option to pit. But what this has done is that Racing Gift has now got a lead of nearly 10 seconds. And Oliver is up in P2 and Corleone, incredibly, is up in P3. And Stan, after his drive-through, is up in P4 and he's trying to make a move on Corleone. I don't know what on earth happened to Nick and Vessier, but they are out of the equation here, and Stan is going to get the move on Corleone. Trying not to take each other out, guys. Very nice from Stan. That was very clean, very good. Good driving from both Stan and Corleone there as they head over the Anderson Bridge. And Chappie has, Chappie we already knew retired from the race. Bizzle, I think, has got front wing damage and he's going to lose a place to Nick, so I wonder if the intermediate tyres are going off for some of these guys, because or there must have been an incident on track that caused them to pit. But if you're Racing Gift and Pure Oliver, you just have to keep it out of the wall now, and you're going to get big points in this championship, in this race rather. So just keep it clean, guys. What an incident packed race this has been. So Bizzle now is under pressure on Casto, so Casto is obviously falling back behind as well, and we've got a new fastest lap from Little Jim, and D Bizzle's car went into the twilight zone there as Casto got through, and I think Bizzle's definitely got connection issues, so, and in fact Bizzle's left the session, so that's compounded his misery. And Corleone's pitted, so Corleone was in P3 but he's now come out, cut the pit exit. I don't know what happened to Corleone, maybe he did get damage in that altercation with Stan. But now Pure Oliver is actually catching Racing Gift, whose lead was 10 seconds. We've got another yellow flag, it's yellow flag central. Oh, and Stan! What's happened to Ultimate Stan? He's spinning round, Nick is overtaking him. Little Jim is up into P3. What's there? Incident between Little Jim and Ultimate Stan that we did not pick up on the feed. Man, what a race. It's so hard to keep up with keep track of everything. Bizzle's rejoined, but Izzy and Stan is all over the place. Has Stan's intermediate tyres given up on him, or has he got front wing damage? Either way, he's got a puncture. Stan has got a puncture. His inters must have gone. Ultimate Stan's race has fallen away from him. So, oh, and he's what on earth is going on there? That was. I'm not quite sure if Vessier was outbreaking himself there, but his wing's okay. But Stan's tyres have completely gone. So maybe the call was to come in, so you have to keep an eye on Gift. Are his tyres going to last? His lead has been eaten down to 3 seconds by Pure Oliver. The front two have not made a pit stop, so their intermediate tyres must be on the edge. They must be in puncture territory. That'll be why Little Jim pitted. That'll be why Nick pitted. That'll be why everyone pitted. The inters were not going to last the pace of this race. Oh man. They just need to keep it very, very careful on the throttle. It was Ultimate Stan's left rear that went. These Racing Gupta is putting in the performance of his life tonight. Oliver is catching him. But what about the tyres? It's like Silverstone 2020 all over again, except the track seems to be getting a little bit drier as well. Ultimate Stan is in the pits. He'll still collect points for finishing in P12, but his race is effectively ruined by that puncture. It's a shame. It's a shame on the telemetry we're not able to look at the tire life of the guys. But 13 laps on these tires. They must be on the edge. They've not done a single pit stop. And look at Oliver. Oliver is catching Gupt as they head into the last lap. Oh man. Gupt is really struggling. His tyres must be on the verge of puncture territory. And look at Jim. Jim is on the fresher rubber and he is catching the pair of them. And there's a move going into turn 2. Turn 3 rather. I can never get the corner numbers right. And Oliver and Jim. We've got a free car battle. Oh my god. Jim's in the wall. Jim is in the wall. Oliver tried to defend and Jim damaged his wing. Oh my word. What is going on here? Oh, and Oliver's spun. His Inters have given up now and Jim, with a damaged front wing, is up into P2. And now Nick is going to snatch that move from Oliver. Oh, disaster. I can't believe this. And Jim is surely going to get caught by Nick. Can Gupt hold on to P1? There's no way Little Jim's going to be able to catch him. Is Nick the man to catch Racing Gupt? This is the drive of the season so far from Racing Gupt. Dacuna's in Monaco was really something special, but this is something special. 14 laps on intermediate tyres. Kept a cool head, has not put a foot wrong. Jim is still catching him though with a damaged front wing, but Nick is now going to surely put the move on him. But let's cut back to the race leader. Oh, they're fighting hard. Racing Gupt on 15 lap intermediate tyres wins in Singapore. One absolutely epic drive. I want to know how those tyres are. What an outstanding drive. Nick did get past Little Jim for P2. Jim in P3. Oliver will be ruined. He was in P1 in the final lap. He was on his way to victory on the final lap, but lost it trying to defend from Jim, and ultimately misses out on a podium, albeit a great drive from him still. Casto in P5. Consistent point scorer there. Vessier in P6, who was up in the top 3 positions for a long part of the race. Corleone in 7th, Wayne in 8th, Bizzle 9th. Dacuna, after all his trials and tribulations, will still get points in P9. In fact, overtakes Bizzle to get P9. Eskimo in P11 and Stan, a race to forget for him in P12. And I'm about to bloody race myself. I'm bloody knackered after that. What a race. Driver of the day, Little Jim. According to Codemasters, my driver of the day has to be the guy who has the balls to do a race in Singapore in the wet, not put it in the wall at all, and last a full race on intermediate tyres. Racing Gupt won the race. He gets my personal driver of the day. Pure Oliver also for doing the same thing, staying out on those tyres, not pitting, but unfortunately he lost a couple of positions right at the end. But there we go, there's the final standings. Racing Group with an outstanding drive to P1, Nick in P2, Jim in P3, Per Oliver 4, Castro 5th, Specie 6th, Cordium 7th, Wayne 8th, Pina 9th, Eskimo 10th, Stan 11th, and Bizzle 12th, and the last of the classified finishers. DNFs for Chappie, Bultex, Mosh, Epic, and Doradin. And that was Singapore, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Apologies for my cock up on the first race, but hopefully that was entertaining to watch. And we'll see you again next week. Stay tuned for the Darwin race with chatty.com comms. Thanks guys, catch you later.